Well, would you look at that for total, complete, another amateur hour? How long have I been on YouTube now? This is 2026 is my 20th year on YouTube. And I very stupidly left a bag in my dad's house that had my microphone in it. So I've come back home after the Christmas and I left the microphone there. So I'm actually recording. I have no suitable microphone. So I'm recording this video using my smartphone. So please forgive the horrific. Oh, this is the only time this is ever going to happen, folks. I assure you. It sounds like a phone call. I'm so sorry. But I am going to try and do this review. The 1952 sci-fi movie Red Planet Mars. So this is another Subscribe Star review recommendation. So Red Planet Mars was directed by Harry Horner. And it's a very interesting one because it's a powerful reflection of the concerns, anxieties, and politics of the period, specifically the Cold War and fears of nuclear war. The story also offers a religious angle in counterpoint to America's growing apprehension of communism and the Soviet Union. It's also a unique sci-fi film about Mars in that it doesn't take place on the Red Planet. There's no spaceships or astronauts. It's entirely based on Earth. The film stars Peter Graves as a scientist, Chris Cronin, and Andrea King as his wife, Linda. You might remember Peter Graves from Airplane. They make use of a radio transmitter and they study the planet Mars to discover that it's inhabited by a highly advanced alien society. In fact, it's described as a utopia. They receive messages from Mars by decoding mathematical formulas, and the Martian inhabitants explain that Mars is a world of abundance. They also make use of advanced cosmic energy. Politicians, workers, and movements across Earth react to this news. They see Mars as a reflection of our own world, or rather, how we'd like it to be. People begin questioning human systems of democracy, government, and economics. Global markets go into turmoil. There's public disorder and rioting globally. The US government decides to take control of the transmissions in order to stop the chaos. All further Martian transmissions will be vetted by the military first, in order to prevent civilization from further collapsing. The transmissions have done more damage to the Western world than the Russians ever did. The president decides that the transmission center must be shut down completely because it's threatening national security. But they suddenly receive another message that claims that Martians believe in a higher power, God, basically. This is how they have achieved peace. They decide to release the message publicly, and it soon results in the world embracing Christian spirituality, peace, and unity. So the world takes this Martian message as a kind of call to prayer and peace. In Russia, this causes the people to reject communism, which is fundamentally Marxist and atheistic in its philosophy, and to see the USSR regain its Christian ethos would ultimately destabilize the Eastern Bloc. So faith grows across Russia, and communism soon collapses. However, the scientist who had been working on behalf of the Russians to intercept the Martian broadcasts, Franz Calder, visits the Cronins in their laboratory and breaks the news. He faked the messages from his remote listening post in the Andes Mountains. The whole thing was a hoax. Calder was able to make the signals look like they were coming from outside the Earth, and the US government even worked to make a few fake messages of their own to help destabilize Russia. Calder wishes to destroy the paradise that he created because this is his means of working for the devil, breaking the world's faith in God by exposing the Martian signals as a hoax. But the Cronins intend to prevent him from doing so and will even destroy the transmission center. However, just before they do so, a transmission comes in. But how? From who? Perhaps it really was God in the end. So, watching this, I was struck by some of the thematic similarities to this story and my novel Deus V Machina, which explores the second coming of Christ in a time of AI and high technology after a major world war, and how Christ's return brings about global peace. But is it one that's predicated on a lie? So some interesting narrative similarities with this story and my novel. Now the Cronins go down as heroes and peace reigns on Earth. The film ends. it should really go without saying that a film like this would never be made today, that's for sure. One that is unapologetically Christian in its message. Although it is a bit blunt and heavy-handed in its application of that message, it does correctly diagnose one of the primary means by which communism seizes and maintains power, by removing God as the highest authority above man and replacing him with a supreme tyrannical ruler, the likes of Mao, Stalin, Pol Pot, or Lenin. It's an interesting movie in that it achieves a great deal with a limited budget and manages to cross multiple genres: political thriller, sci-fi, and religious. I suppose I could describe the film as propagandistic in its reactionary message against the Red Scare at that time, but it was genuinely an existential threat for the Western world during that period. So I think one has to take the historical context into account. Overall, I did quite enjoy this, actually. This was my first time seeing the film over the Christmas, so I was taken aback at how some of the story's core message mirrored my own novel. Great minds think alike, I guess. That's going to do it for today, guys. But I will say, again, apologies for the microphone issue. That's not going to happen again. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.